for no. We're going 80 in a 45. Not even nervous, I could close my eyes. But it's weird, since I met you, I'm not afraid to crash. My hand, I could fall 1,000 feet, and I know that I'd still be more afraid of the things you say. Tell me that you're mine or else I'll pass away. 'Cause sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will fucking kill me. Yeah, I got pulled in. I met a guy on the internet last week. I'm so impulsive, got a flight to the East Coast already. I get indulgent, cause I don't get very lucky finding one to have emotions. So fuck it, I'm just living in the moment, yeah. And I keep saying to myself that there's somebody somewhere else. It might not be here in LA, so even if you're far away, I'll take the long distance. Don't care where you're living. If you're something worth missing, then it's alright. I don't mind the space between us, if it means I can keep you. I don't think we need a reason why. I think that I would rather be distant with you than feel distant with someone who is standing in front of me, but I can't even feel a thing. I would.
There he is.
Hello.
Jordy Schulman. Look at you.
How are you?
Always looking so spry and great and such great
Aw,
energies.
thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jordy. But you know what? I have to tell you first off the bat, I mean, 2021 brought many musical surprises, Jordy, but at the top of the list, there you are. I mean, Mind Games blew our minds. What an album. I mean, the way you made personal songs universal, danceable, emotional, Jordy. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That's so nice. And that was the goal, the whole process, the whole journey of making this record. The whole goal was to like make it as personal but as universal as possible, you know? And so I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can dance to it, which is always a great thing.
Always
Right?
can dance. Always can dance.
Always can dance, Jordy. Where are you coming to us from, Jordy?
I'm in Boston right now. I'm playing a show in Boston tonight. I'm on tour currently, so I appreciate you saying I look spry because I was in the van yesterday for like 5 hours. But I went to college here, so tonight's gonna be very weird and very
Yeah,
crazy, very full circle.
right, right. How is it to tour like during the holidays, Jordy? You know, I've always thought that, like, because you've toured a lot this year, you come back to the stage, you know, reception has been amazing. Is it a little weird to be touring, you know, into mid-December, kind of like that, or the same thing?
Um, so I had like the week of Thanksgiving off. We like did our West Coast shows before Thanksgiving, and then I went home, did Thanksgiving with the family, which was so nice. And honestly, it's like, we'll be done before like the holidays, but I guess like Hanukkah is happening right now. It is kind of
Right.
weird, but it's also like kind of like cozy and nostalgic and like, I grew up in Chicago, like in the cold, like in the snow. And so there's something about like touring right now in like the East Coast, like snowy, cold weather that's like bringing me back to like little Jordy in Chicago and just like making
Right.
me really proud of myself. And so I don't know, it's a very nostalgic feeling. But I'm just excited to be doing it. So
Love it, Jordy. Well, that's great, and we have a lot to get to, and we'll get to the new album in a second. But let's start with this, Jordy. Take me back really quickly to a minute to Glenbrook, Illinois, where you grew up, right? And
sure.
it's the for my audience that doesn't know this epic story, right? There's this high school variety show, big deal in your school, and you
Yeah.
put on a show. A show-stopping performance, I should say, of One Republic's Secrets that
Oh my God,
people still talk about that performance, Jordy.
yeah.
Just share with us a little bit about that night and like all the meaning around it.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you for bringing that up. I've never really had an interviewer bring that up before. So when I was 15, my parents found out I was gay. I came out the following year to like all of my friends. It like took me like probably like a year to like fully comfortably like come out of the closet. Um, and my junior year of high school, once I was like comfortable and out, I decided to like audition for the annual variety show, singing Secrets by One Republic, and also making a slideshow that kind of showed the progress of like queer rights in America and kind of like celebrities that I had looked up to at the time, and just kind of like an homage to like all of the people before me who were kind of like leading the way in like the queer community. And so, I was like 16, and like I'm lucky that my school was like so supportive and was like, absolutely, you can do this. And like they allowed me to perform it in front of like the entire community. And it was just like, I don't know, it's super special. I think a huge part of the reason why I'm so comfortable being so vulnerable and being so honest with who I am in my music today is because of the teachers when I was in high school who were like cheering me on, being like, you can be exactly who you want to be and
Wow.
who you are. So yeah, that night was really special and the feedback was super great. And, it was just one of those moments that I'll never forget for sure.
What a moment, Jordy. And I'm sure, at 16, being able to realize like, okay, like performance can actually change people's lives in this profound way must have like, really set you up to what you're doing now.
Totally. No, I mean, it's like, again, I feel like I attribute so much of like the success that I'm seeing now to like the teachers and people around me when I was younger, 100%.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. So shout out to the
Um,
high school there. Yeah, because so Jordy, yeah, your high school obviously put a lot of emphasis into the arts. That's great, but you always grew up and like what you're doing now, you knew that it was going to be your purpose. What was like a play, Jordy, of little Jordy in Illinois, or traveling to Broadway or something, or like a show or a movie you saw that really kind of like rattled your brain when you were like a young child and you said, "This is it."
Oh, it was probably seeing Avril Lavigne in concert for the first
Mm,
time with my dad. I was like such a Avril like fangirl. My dad was like a big rock and roll guy. I was like always like a pop boy, and so Avril was like our perfect like medium where it was like pop but also rock. And so he took me to see her at the United Center in Chicago, and I just feel like it was really just like watching the thousands and thousands of people just like singing the words back at her, and her just like saying exactly what was on her mind and exactly how she was feeling. And like I remember watching her being like, I want to do that, I want to be that. And so
I
yeah,
see.
shout out to Avril. Love you, Avril, if you're listening.
By the way, have you seen her? She hasn't aged a second.
No,
But
she's a
that's another, yeah, like she opened up a TikTok recently and people were like, why do you look the same? But that's, yeah, but that's for another episode. And speaking of TikTok, Jordy, I do want to get obviously there because obviously long distance blew up. But when in research, people said, oh my God, Jordy blew up on TikTok. That's really not the case, right? I mean, what I mean is you were in LA, you were hustling for years, every day, you were paying your dues, doing the little things. So this is just like a simply like a manifestation of stuff that people didn't see. Am I right or am I wrong?
I literally just got chills because I don't know how you like you're so great at doing this. Like I love you for saying
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you for
It's
saying
a
that.
guest.
Um, yeah, no, I had been like grinding in LA for like 3+ years before long distance blew up, and I had probably released over 20 songs before long distance blew up.
Right.
So I have been doing this for, I guess like 4 years when you think about it. It's like not a long time, but it also, it was like a lot of years that I was just like grinding and doing sessions and meeting as many people as I possibly could and doing shows and releasing song after song after song after song and working with a bunch of different teams. And I eventually like met the manager I work with now, and like that became like a constant for me, which was like really lovely. And I feel like that was when like the team really started to kind of form.
Yeah.
And really like our plan and the strategy was just like release a bunch of singles. Spotify started supporting, Apple started supporting. We saw support from all the DSPs, which was like really exciting. It was like a slow build. And then when the pandemic hit and we were like, okay, we can't do shows, I had a lot of Pride fests lined up. I had a lot of tour dates lined up. I was like, okay, well, at least I can focus on the writing. And so during the pandemic, I really just like hunkered down, started writing a lot over Zoom, which was
Yeah.
crazy and an adjustment. And there was no place to perform the songs, so I just started posting them on TikTok. And am I grateful for TikTok? Yeah, like it's the reason I like signed my record deal, and like so many things like came out of that experience, so many fans that I've gained. But I just I
Yeah.
very much appreciate you saying that, because yeah, the TikTok was kind of like the cherry on top. And I think, as you said, like the result of a lot of years of hard work and a lot of years of studying like what makes a good pop song.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to talk about a couple of the new songs, Jordy. But when you were like before TikTok, was there a moment we all go through ups and downs, whatever career we choose. Was there a moment where you were like, man, you were getting rejection, maybe a little bit too many rejections, and you were like, is this the right thing? Or were you just completely focused, no, nothing but focused to your goal?
Rejections, but completely focused. Like
Love that.
never once was like, ah, I shouldn't do this. Like I've actually like I've never ever felt that. Like
Yeah.
even at my lowest points, like the low feeling was never like I should quit. The low feeling was just like I have to work harder, like that was always like the mindset. So and I think that's what you need to like do this. I think like you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you're a professional, you're an expert at what you do, you are good at what you do, and like as Lady Gaga said, it only takes one person in a room. And I know that that was like a whole meme, and it was like, people laugh at that quote, but it is so true. Like you'll get 100 no's and one yes that'll change your life. And
Yeah.
I have experienced a lot of those one yeses out of 100 no's.
Jordy, and that's why we know that like you're gonna just be around for many years, and you're gonna be and you're gonna create like a lasting impact in pop because of that spirit. Because that's never gonna go away, regardless of what stage of life you're in. That focus to like overcome life issues is a very powerful thing, and it's actually one of the greatest things you're giving your fans, just showing them that. That's super cool.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, let's talk about a couple of the songs because you're being so good with your time. I mean, songwriting that you do is actually underrated, Jordy. It's really special. I live in Nashville, songwriter's town, of course. And when I say special, I mean, it's really good. I mean, lyrics like, erase me, you don't get to save me. If you're yelling all your friends, you don't need me, then why are you trying to keep me? It's just perfectly crafted. A lyric like this, like, what is your process, Jordy? And what I mean is, like, do you go songwrite every day, like it's a discipline? Like if you're on the road, or is it very much like when the inspiration comes? What is your process like for songwriting?
No, I mean when I'm not touring, it's really like sessions most days is what's like taking up my time. So, my publishers will just like put in my calendar, they'll like get me in with, I at this point I have my pods of people that I know I can make really good music with. And what's cool is like when you look at the album, there's like three groups of people that you so clearly see. There's Charlotte Sands, John Santana, Sophie Hintz, and Johnny Shore, and then Drew Polovic, Austin Wolf, and Katie Donnelly. And all of these different groups are just kind of like my core groups. And obviously it's like I'm working with other people and like working outside of those groups, but I do know that when I work with these people, I will feel safe and warm, and we will get a good song out of it. And so for all of these sessions that, we were doing over the past however many years, because a lot of some of these songs were written 2 years ago. Some of them were written a couple months ago. The process is really like, it always starts with a conversation. It always starts with a discussion, like, what are we feeling? Where are we right now? Like mentally, emotionally, there are definitely some songs on the record, like Sticks and Stones, Better in My Head, Delete Me, Long Distance, where I came into the session knowing the concept, knowing the idea that I kind of wanted to work with. And then it's really just like having that conversation with my co-writers and like literally transcribing like every word we say in those conversations and picking out the parts of those conversations that like we
Love
love
it.
and end up using.
Right.
So to me, it's like I want my music to feel conversational. And if it sounds conversational, it's because it came out of a real conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of that, let's talk about long distance for just a hot second here, Jordy, because it obviously deals with the fact, that it's different to be alone than lonely. That's what I gather from it, right? It's a very powerful thing. And actually, I know adults, I know people that go their entire lives without like understanding this very important principle, Jordy. So I wanted to ask you, like, how did you come to this wisdom? You're so young, like that is a really powerful and profound statement.
No, I mean, I love that too. I think that for me, I went to college in Boston, as I said. All of my best friends are in New York. Like, so many of my best friends are in New York, and all of my family is in Chicago. And so, I came to LA with such a high bar of like what a good relationship, whether it's friendship, romantic, whatever it is, like there is such a high bar for me at what makes a good relationship, because I just have those people in my life where I know like a friendship or a familial or a romantic relationship can be that good and that just wonderful. And so for me, it was like moving to LA. It was hard because like there's a lot of crappy people there, and it
Yeah.
was hard sifting through those people. And I was finding myself in groups of large amounts of people in LA feeling so lonely when I knew I could have been with like my one or two best friends from college sitting in a room having the time of my life, or honestly like I'd rather be FaceTiming them and talking to them than like hanging out in this like large group of people like who I
Right.
don't like. And so for long distance, the conversation that started that session was I actually was talking to a guy who lived across the country, and I was super happy. And my co-writer Sophie was like, you know, all the songs I've heard about long distance relationships are mostly sad and talking about how difficult it is and how hard it is
Right.
to be far away from that person. Like, let's make a happy long distance song, because there are so many people we know in happy long distance relationships or who have family or friends who live far away, and they honor and cherish those relationships. And so let's write a song to honor those relationships. And so that's kind of how it was born. And yeah, it's a really special one. It's a really special one.
A very special song, Jordy. Well, you're being so good with your time. Thank you. Let's leave you with this. 2020, everyone, I used to ask this last year, how was 2020 for you? And people, it was a hard year for everybody. But 2021, I kind of want to ask you the same question. How was 2021 for you, Jordy? Because it was such a different year from 2020, but also it had its own challenges, right? How was 2021 for Jordy?
2021 2021 was a really good year. I think being able to have the team that I have now, having like 300, having my publishing company, having my manager, having my agent, having my friends that I work with, having my family, like I feel like I am no longer like trying to like prove myself to anyone to win anyone over. I have people in my corner who are looking at me saying, Jordy, you can do this. We love you. We're pushing you. We support you. And I think to have that kind of community while also writing songs that are completely authentic to me and how I feel is like the biggest joy, the biggest kind of just like the biggest dream I could have ever asked for. It's been my dream ever since I was a kid. And so, you know, this year we expanded the team, we expanded the fan base. You know, it's a journey every single day. We are still grinding hard. It's funny because it's like even with the team and even with the success, I'm like, there are anxious days, there are down days, there are low days, but
Yeah.
I pick myself back up, and I'm so proud of the growth we made this year. And honestly, I'm just like so excited to continue growing, to continue putting out music, to continue doing shows. I'm just really grateful for the people that I met this year, even though it came after a year that was like really difficult. You know, I'm just very, very, very grateful for the relationships I've created.
Very well said, Jordy. Well, you've said it all. Man, what a great guy. What a great talent. Looking spry. If
Thank
this is
you.
you looking spry after a day in the van, let's all aim for that look. But Jordy, Mind
Thank you
Games, what
so
an
much.
album.
Thank you.
People get on this train before it gets filled up quickly. Jordy, thank you so much for your time. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.